My name is Jason Talley, and I'll be doing my presentation on telemedicine. As the cost of medicine and the size of population increases, the access of good to even decent medical attention is slowly becoming harder to come by. The revolution of telemedicine not only has the possibility of gradually decreasing the cost of healthcare, but increase the consistency of maintaining doctor's appointments as well. I chose this topic because it really fascinates me and how far it can actually go. The upsides and downsides makes you question it the most. Being that it's still healthcare, I'm expecting there to be massive changes in the near future in regards to licensing and equipment. Just from the outbreak of COVID-19 alone, we were able to notice that hospitals are having a harder time being able to sustain such a massive widespread outbreak. There are countless times in the past year or so where they have become overcapacitated and they're scared friends or family stuck and not allowed to have a visitor. With the introduction of telemedicine, not only would it allow us to find ways to decrease the cost of medicine, but also allow those who don't have the necessary transportation or other necessities to regularly check on their health. My hope is that this will create a boom in the medical field and more people will open themselves up to this type of service. The beginning of telemedicine, before there was a time where we can get up and go to a doctor's office at will, people would have to rely on house calls from some local doctor or be forced to suffer with some sort of midwife. Obviously, waiting around for a doctor is something most of us aren't happy with, even as we sit in hospitals. Sometime around the 1950s, telemedicine was first introduced as a form of radiology that allowed doctors to send images of patients between one another. The growth led to doctors being able to exchange info, not only more vividly, but with a better understanding of the situation. The rise of telehealth has taken on more criticism due to the fact that it's something that can be wildly hard to control. In order for this to be as successful as most would hope, there would have to be a rise to the understanding of technology. With the rise of smartwatches and heart monitors and the sort, it could theoretically be easier for a doctor to call up a patient and get that info and go through a health check. The question is, how do we get everyone to get on board with this? Studies show that the lack of technology investment and technology acceptance are barriers to the provision of services. Ongoing cost, service delivery, capacity issues, licensing, and credentialing requirements will also be challenging. With limited face-to-face interaction, something like that could be beneficial at a time where we have the COVID virus spreading rapidly. However, I know there will be instances where a doctor may want to get a read on his patient, and doing that through a screen with no senses other than sight would be hard to achieve. After witnessing some of the benefits of keeping people in the confines of their home while sick or with a weak immune system, I expect the use of telemedicine to grow at a rapid pace. In the past year, I've noticed that telehealth services companies have gotten a lot more exposure, especially with the rise of teledoc. I've been able to witness a follow-up check via telehealth, and as long as the patient has some kind of know-how in regards to technology, it's something that can be extremely beneficial. With the arrival of COVID, there's more and more people I believe who are using the services. According to a survey that comes from a healthcare communication company, Upbox, 42% of adults have used telehealth since the arrival of COVID. Of those, a majority stated that they preferred it due to convenience. That sounds like a pretty high satisfaction rate. The more people we can get to open up to this, the more likely we are to decrease missed doctor's appointments, as well as possibly lowering the cost of healthcare as a whole. In theory, with the rise of more readily available medical help, the ability to pour more resources into keeping the more vulnerable safe shall increase as well. Telemedicine has been around since the early 1900s. From radiology to seminars over television, the medical field has made it a priority to expand their reach as far as could possibly be. With the outbreak of the COVID pandemic, that has made these realities even clearer. According to Price Waterhouse Cooper's report, more than half of U.S. physicians, around 500,000 doctors, have already or will soon adopt virtual care technology to treat patients. That alone is enough to tell us there's a serious development being discussed when it comes to telehealth. In the past year alone, telehealth company Teladoc has seen a boom in profits and usage. It's become so convenient that there's no reason for us to not use this easily accessible necessity. As more and more people become adapted to this service, I truly believe that it will have a huge hand in drastically changing not only America's health, but have a global health impact as well. With the introduction of telemedicine, the possibilities for advancement in the medical field have become so much greater. In the end, I chose to divulge on telemedicine because I just got a first-hand account of how it can impact those close to you. With it all being so new to people, there are going to be kinks that need to be worked out for obvious reasons. However, as time goes, the potential to introduce new technologies based off of this alone can be infinite. The number one reason telemedicine has so much importance is because it has the ability to tap into a completely different mass of people, whether that be inspiring others or saving lives. Thank you.